We have not forgotten a single community. And I raise that with you because there's an ugly conversation that I usually shy away from because it's so ugly and I'm not. Well, clearly not. Um, but it's something we need to raise because I see it raising its head. And I don't mind if adults want to have that kind of conversation in their bottom houses and in their living rooms. But when you introduce it into public spaces where we infect children, and I call it infect, and contaminate children, I think I have a duty to put aside my discomfort with dealing with that ugliness to publicly point out the realities of our country. We didn't look at how communities vote, and we can't and shouldn't when we're in government to decide where we'll get a service. So we're in Hope Town, which is traditionally I'm hoping it changes, supportive of the opposition. We're in number 10, which is traditionally supportive of the PPP. We're in Belladrum, where we put the teacher training center, again, traditionally supportive of the opposition. We're in Rosignol, because that's where the school is, launching, doing CAPE subjects and making that a list A school, traditionally supportive of the PPP. We don't check when your children walk through these gates. We don't ask them, how do you pray? Who do you worship? We don't stop them and say, come, take off this cap, let me see what your hair look like. We don't ask them how your parents voted. Service is service to all our children all across Guyana. And we're committed at the Ministry of Education and in the government to make sure, despite the noise and the narratives, that we put on our blinkers and we focus on that ethos, that ideology. And you're close to racetrack here, and I know that because if you know my family, you know my grandfather was into race horses. So you're close to the Bushlot racetrack. And blinkers are usually put on horses so that it could block out their periphery vision. All you're seeing is what's in front of you. And you have to be steadfast in your commitment to block out the noise and the ugliness and focus on how you're going to develop your own life, your children's life, your community's life, and your country's life. It's very easy to get distracted by the noise, because sometimes the noise very pulling at your heartstrings, very emotive noise that could have you listening and swaying. And that's when your blinkers come off. And who suffers? Who suffered when this facility, although we left funding for it in 2013, and although we left the drawing for it, didn't go up until now? Who suffered then? APNU, EFC, PPP, your children suffered. The generation that didn't get to use this, who went to school, started school, finished school, and didn't get to use this, they suffered. So they don't get those skills that trainee teacher just spoke about. They are no longer, they have to now go and get competitive. Against who? These kids who were clapping, you heard an echo in there? They will now come out getting skilled and getting work. And the ones who didn't get it now have to come and upskill, which they will be allowed to do. But they didn't catch that first draft of jobs people searching for. So you understand what I'm telling you when I tell you you can't get distracted? Because when you get distracted, it's not the parties that suffer or individuals in those parties, it's you and your children. So you have a job, you have a duty to yourself, to your family, to make sure you pay attention to see where your life gets improved, and that you embrace that and promote that as far as you can.